Welcome back mga kamatlets. It's me again, Teacher Robert. So in our previous video, we discussed about on how we're going to solve problems involving sets. Now in this video, we'll discuss about the absolute value and operations on integers. Now in this video, you will know how to perform the fundamental operations of mathematics on integers. So, as a review, the four fundamental operations of mathematics are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now, these four fundamental operations, we are going to discuss how we are going to use this or perform these four fundamental operations on integers. Now, let's start with the definition of what is an integer. What is an integer? No? Integer is a whole number that is greater than 0 or positive or less than 0 and negative. Or in other definition, it is the set of whole numbers or the positive and negative numbers and 0, including the 0. So those are the integers. Now you have, it can be visualized using the number line. Now it is a number line. So it can be shown in our number line that we have those numbers on the number line are what we call the integers. No? So we have the 0 there in the middle, that what we call origin. So ang atong 0 tawgon sa origin na just nga, no? And then all the numbers that are on the right side of 0 or greater than 0, those are the positive integers. And all the numbers that are less than 0, those are the negative integers. So tanaw as we observe in our number line. So makita da sa atong number line nga ang tanang number nga naa sa right side sa atong 0, they are all positive integers. O ang tanan number nga naa sa left side or less than 0 are what we call the negative integers. Now, sa inyong elementary mathematics, you're just talking about or naara mo nag-discuss about sa positive numbers, no? Wala jud tag-introduce sa elementary ang negative. So mao nang pag-abot og high school, negative na ang negative, gidugangan ra og negative. Kung giunsa to pag-perform tong mga fundamental operations on the whole number or the positive numbers, as is ra to siya. Now we're going to add only rules that are being used or we are going to use when performing those fundamental operations when it comes to negative numbers. So ang kini nga topic matawag siya og fundamental operations of sign numbers. Sign siya because we are talking about the relationship on how we are going to perform fundamental operations on sign. So positive and negative. Negative ra positive. So, kung when it comes to number, dili na ito mausab tong inyong mga ruling sa elementary. So, ang atong i-discuss is unsaon na to pag-add, unsaon na to pag-subtract, unsaon na to pag-multiply, unsaon na to pag-divide, kung naanay sign. No? Okay. So, next is, we're going to define what is a number line. So, atong gipakita kaganina ang number line. Now, we have that one. So, as I've said, we have the 0 here, the origin. Kini siya. And we have the positive integers. Positive integers are the numbers that are greater than 0. Positive integers. So, ang atong number diha, ang atong number line, kung atong i-describe ni atong number line, ang ato number line is not limited to 4 only kini as example. Kini atong example only taman raman ang positive integer sa 4. No, dili siya. So pwede siya ma-extend 5, 6 moabot pa na og pila ka milyon or billion or trillion, no? Pwede pa na siya ma-extend because of its arrowhead. Kini siya, the number line can be extended because of its arrowhead. So it is not limited to a particular number. So positive integers, all the numbers that are greater than 0, pwede na ma-extend diri as a tuo, same as pwede siya ma-extend sa wala, no? So diha siya nga na. Now we have also the number line na siya slash that indicates the distance from 0. So as we observe, the positive integers going to the right, positive integers, and going to the left are the negative integers. Kung mo obserbahan na to, the distance between those numbers are the same kung atong sukdon gikan sa 0, no? But their direction is different ang ilang direction. Different ang direction, but the distance is the same. Ang tawag ana pod is the opposite. Like for example, 1, positive 1, and we have the negative 1. So same distance from 0. So it means that 1 or negative 1 is the opposite of 1, or negative or positive 1 is the opposite of negative 1. No, opposite sila. But opposite numbers are the numbers that have different sign but they are the same, they have the same distance from 0. Mo nang opposite. So we have opposite sila, si 4 opposite ni negative 4, or negative 4 opposite ni 4. Or in short, sa negative integer opposite to positive integer, because in other book the definition of integer is that it is the set of positive numbers and its opposite. O naay nga na nga definition. So in short, the opposite of positive numbers are negative numbers. Okay? So mao na siya. So dili pud mabiro, ang ilhanan sa positive is that, or sa positive and negative is that the sign, kini nga sign, kining murag na minus nga gitapad sa number, that or that is what we call the negative integer, or negative sign rather. The negative sign kini. So we have this read as negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Sir, wala lagi sign sa positive. Actually, the sign of positive is plus. Kanang naay plus nga, minus man ang negative. So ang positive is plus na sign, dili itapad. But pwede na dili ibutang. No need to put that positive sign. Because if you saw a number that has no sign, means that is positive number. So kung makakita mo og number nga naay o nga walay sign, that means that number is a positive number. Nakuha? Okay. So what is an absolute? Next, we're going to define what is an absolute value. So unsa man ning absolute value? So an absolute value is of a number is the distance of a number from 0. So it is the distance of a number from 0. That is what we call the absolute value. Now remember that the distance itself is always 0. Now the distance itself is always 0. Now the absolute value of a number n is written as the absolute value of n. So that symbol is sa okay. So that symbol kana nga symbol, we have to two bar kanang slash diha that what we call the symbol for absolute value. Mo ni symbol sa absolute value. Now if we're going to read this one, we have absolute value of n. Now n here stands for the number. So we have the absolute value of a number. Okay? So for example, if x is a positive integer, then the absolute value of x is x, of course. So in symbol, we have the absolute value of x, which is equal to x if x is greater than 0. Now, as I've said in our definition, the absolute value of a number is the distance of a number from 0. So distance, we're talking about the distance now. Remember that the distance itself is always positive. So, bisan pa og pila na ka milyon diha kung kuhaon ang positive, or for example, absolute value of 1 million. 1 million ang absolute value ana. No? So, no matter what that's the sign is, ang answer is always positive. The absolute value of a number, bisan pag unsa na siya negative or positive, ang absolute value is always positive. Positive din ang answer. Okay. For example, so we have the absolute value of 7 is equal to 7, positive 7. O ha? Since 7 is positive integer, then the absolute value of 7 is 7. Okay? Or the absolute value of positive 7 is positive 7. Okay. If x is equal to 0, how about kung 0 ang number, sir? Then the absolute value of x is x, of course. So, in the symbol, the absolute value of x is equal to x if x is equal to 0. Now, for example, we have absolute value of 0. So, 0. Now, remember, so, wala na ako na-mention kanina, 0 is not negative nor positive. 0 is 0. Dili siya positive, dili po siya negative. 0 is 0. So, since 0 is equal to 0, then the absolute value of 0 is 0. Okay? Okay, we have next is if x is a negative integer, then the absolute value of x is x. So, we have, kung ang x nato is negative, what will be the absolute value? Again, the answer, the absolute value of a number is always positive. No? We have, for example, absolute value of negative 10. This is what we, sound siya of absolute value of negative 10. So, the answer is, the absolute value of negative 10 is positive 10. No? Positive sa 10. Oh. Kaya ang distansya ni negative 10 gikan kang 0 is 10 man. Positive 10. Positive 10. Now we have, since negative 10 is a negative integer, then the absolute value of negative 10 is 10. Okay? So, those are mautos jay absolute value of a number. Now, so if you are going to illustrate that one, so absolute value of 6, as you observe, we have, since 6 is 6 units from 0, the absolute value of 6 is 6. So we have that one. As I've said, absolute value is all about the distance of a number from 0. So si 6 positive man si 6 gikan diri so gikan kang 0, there are 6 units from 0 to positive 6. So therefore the absolute value is 6. Okay. Another is 0. So 0 gyapon. Wa may distansya, 0 is 0. Okay? So we have absolute value of negative 3. So the distance from 0 to negative 3 is 3 units. Therefore, the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Okay? So let's proceed to the operations on integers. Now, operations na ta. Now we're to have the fundamental operations on integers. Now we have, first, we are going to, this is about addition of integers. So pinakauna, so addition of integers. Okay. So in adding integers, there are so many ways in adding integers. It can be, you can use the number line, the tiles, and the rules. Now, so ways in adding integers. So you can add integers by using tiles. So in our discussion, we will use this tile, ganing square diha ang na ay symbol nga plus. That would be represent a positive integer, and kining isa, kining square diha ang na symbol nga minus, that would represent a negative integer, no? So that is by using tiles. Now, second is by rule, by using rules. Now, in our discussion, I'm going to show you the rule, then the example, then we're going to illustrate that example by using tiles, no, para mas madali. Okay, we have in addition of integers, we have rule number 1. When the integers have like sign, add the numbers and copy the common sign. So in short, when you are going to add integers who have the same sign, pareho og sign ha. So pud pasabot pareho sila negative, pareho sila positive. Oh. Kung mag-add kag pareho positive, mag-add kag pareho negative, ang resulta na is you are going to add the numbers, then copy the common sign. Kopyahon ra ilang sign. For example, 8, positive 8 plus 15. O, sa inyo elementary na, no? 8 plus 15 equals 23. Positive 23. Now, as I've said, na-discuss or sa inyo elementary or sa elementary pa mo gi-discuss na sa inyong math teacher nga kanang mga numbers, but naara mo taman sa mga positive, di ba? So we have ang pagkuha is 8 plus 15 equals 23, no? Sa pwede na siya basahan as positive 8 plus positive 15 equals positive 23. So positive 8 are 8 and 15 or 8 and 15 are all positive. Positive pareho si 8 o si 15. Therefore, we are going to add the number. Di ba? I-add na siya. Pareho man. Now, we have plus good. So, we have 8 plus 15 equals 23. So, positive 23. Kaya pareho man positive. Okay? Saba diri guys. Saba kay kilid kalsada. Okay, so pasensya na. Okay, we have, so if we are going to show you that one using the tiles, we have that one. Okay, positive 8 man, so there are 8 tiles, 8 tiles plus 15 tiles nga puro positive, puro puti. So, kung ato na siya diyang ikon, siyempre, i-add ra na siya kay pareho man. Now we have, there are 23 tiles. So, that is how we're going to use, or we are going to add integers using tiles. No? Okay. Again, another example is negative 10. Kaya kanina, positive mo ito itong ipakita. All the numbers are positive. Karon ipakita na to ang negative. So, we have negative 10 plus negative 1 equals negative 11. Okay. Now, negative 11. Now, in real life situation, we can apply that one. We can, that negative number will represent our debt or utang. Utang. So, for example, ang atong utang is negative 10. But pasabot, ang atong utang is Gs. Gidugangan natong utang o piso. Pila na. So, siyempre, pareho man to utang. So, dugang to. So, we have negative 11 na ang atong utang. Kuha. So, add. Nga na mag-add of integers. Pareho man sila negative. So, you are going to add. So, i-add ra. 10 plus 1 equals 11. Now, copy the common sign which is negative man. So, negative 11. Nakuha. Now, if you are going to illustrate that one using number or using tiles, we have that one. We have negative. There are 10 negative tiles. Negative. Black tiles there. 10. Plus gidugangang itom isa. So pareho man sila itom. So dugang ra. So that makes 12 tiles. 12 negative tiles. So, oh no. 11 negative tiles are there. 11 negative tiles. So, sorry. So, that is negative 11. Okay? Next is rule number 2. Ang rule number 2 of addition of integers is that when the integers have unlike sign, kaganina, like sign nun to no. Karon, when the integers have unlike signs, subtract the numbers and use the number of the greater absolute value. Now, take note, absolute value ang gihisgutan. Now, niyon pa ang ingon pa, kung mag-add ko no ka og integers nga dili pareho og sign, like for example, like isa positive, ang isa negative, dili sila pareho, o different or unlike sign sila. Ang himuon nimo is, you are going to subtract. You are going to subtract. Di ba sa inyong elementary, kung i-subtract nato ang duha ka number, kinahanglan ang subtract ang dako. For example, sa inyong elementary is, kumayon kag 10 minus 8 equals 2. Di ba? Equals 2. So, kinahanglan, mao man na yung kuhan, nga kung mag-subtraction, kung mag-minus, kinahanglan dako ag minusan. O, dili kay dako ang i-minus. Di ba? Mao man na siya. So, we will use that concept. Atong gamito na nga concept sa addition of integers who have unlike sign. Okay. use the number or subtract the numbers and use the number of the greater absolute value. Okay, for example, 2 plus negative 5. 2 plus negative 5. Oh, we are going to subtract which, okay, kuha ko na to na ilang absolute value, no? Kung sa may absolute value nito, siyempre 2. Ni negative 5, what is the absolute value of negative 5? That is positive 5. Which is greater? Which of these two numbers have greater absolute value? Siyempre si negative 5. Among these two numbers, si negative 5 ang dako og absolute value. Distance ba? So, ato i-minus, 5 minus 2 is 3, di ba? 3. Then copy the or use the sign. Okay, use the sign, kini sign sa negative 5 or use the sign of negative 5 kay mao man siya dako og absolute value. So 3, that makes negative 3. Okay? So kung ato na silang applyan og real life situation, kanang positive, ganina niyo magko ang negative is utang. Ang positive is kwarta. Okay, atong kanan para mas masabtan. We have ang imong kwarta is 2, tapos ang imong utang is 5. Siyempre, kung imo nang ibayad, ang mabili nimo is utang rakan nga 3. Mas dako imong utang kaysa imong kwarta. So ang mabilin utang gyapon. Kuha. Now if we are going to represent that one in tiles, we have 2 positive tiles plus 5 negative tiles. Ato nang ipares-pares. So ang mabilin nga y pares is 3 negative tiles. So mao na siya 3 negative tiles. So gipares nato si positive tiles ngadto kang negative tiles, ipares nato si positive ug negative, ipares pairing sila, pairing. So ang mabilin nga y pares is 3 ka negative tiles. So the answer is 3 ka negative tiles. So in number, that is negative 3. Okay. Another is negative 20 plus 18. So that makes negative 2. Okay? So the absolute value of negative 20 is 20. So the absolute value of 18 is 18. So if you are going to subtract, so 20 minus 18, that is 2. So 2. Kung sa may sign, sir, kung sa sign ni 2. So atong tanawon kung asay greater absolute value. Hamay dako, negative 20 o 18. Which of these two numbers have greater absolute value, negative 20 or 18? Si negative 20. Kung sa may sign ni negative 20, negative. So we will use the sign of negative 20. That is negative. So our answer is negative 2. Okay. So in tiles, so there are 20 negative tiles plus there are 18 positive tiles. So again, pares-pares. So ang mabilin is, ang walay pares is duha ka negative tiles. So that is negative 2. That is by using tiles. Okay? Ang another is 12 plus negative 8. 12 plus negative 8. So which is asa man ani og dako nga absolute value, which of these two have a greater absolute value, 12 or negative 8? So we have 12. What is the sign of 12? That is positive. So automatically our answer is positive. So if we are going to subtract, because these two numbers have unlike sign man siya, so we are going to subtract 12 minus 8. So that makes 4. Kung sa atong answer, kung sa atong sign sa atong answer, positive, because 12 is greater absolute value man. And the symbol of 12 is, or the sign of 12 is positive. So positive 4. Diba? Okay, we have, using the tiles, there are 4 or 12 positive tiles. 12 positive tiles plus 8 negative tiles. So atong ipares, so that makes ang mabilin is there are only 4 positive tiles. So positive 4. Okay? So now let's proceed to subtraction of integers. Subtraction of integers. Now in subtraction of integers, to subtract two integers, add the opposite or additive inverse of the subtrahend to the minuend. That is, if a and b are any two integers, then a minus b is equal to a plus negative b, then follow the rules for addition of integers. Now, di ba kung mag-subtract ka sa integers when two numbers are subtracted, ang usa tawgon og minuend, ang usa subtrahend. No? Now, ang timan-ina, which of these two numbers are subtrahend and which is minuend? Mo na timan-an because ang ruling sa atong subtraction of integers, kinahanglan ko no, kung mag-subtract ka og integers, you are going to change the sign of our subtrahend. Change the sign of a subtrahend, then change ang sign sa subtrahend, then proceed to addition. So these are the rulings. So one is KCC or keep change, and then that is K means keep the minuend as isra, si first integer, then change the subtraction sign to addition, change. So gikan sa subtraction, change to addition. Okay? Then change the sign of a subtrahend, the second integer, i-change na to. So kung positive ang atong subtrahend, you are going to change it to negative. So kung negative po siya, change it to positive. Okay. Then, second rule is follow the rules for addition. So, we already discussed what are the rules for addition. So, paggamit ito siya when adding integers. Okay, for example, 7 minus 3 equals 4. Diba sa inyong elementary, that is 7 minus 3 equals 4. Equals 4. Yes. 4 siya, sir. Mao ba na? Pero og moingon sa elementary og 3 minus 7. Sa elementary giingnan og cannot be. Cannot be. Anong mag cannot be man? Because in elementary wala pa gi-introduce ang negative numbers. Okay? So but in high school, that is 3 minus 7 can be subtracted. Okay? We have 3 minus 7 is equal to, usa tong ruling, keep the first integer the same, so positive siya, as isra positive 3. Next is C. So minus man siya, subtraction man, change the subtraction to addition. Sir, na plus lagi na, mao gani, minus man siya, i-plus na to og addition, or i-change na to addition. Next is another C. We have change the subtrahend, change the sign of the subtrahend. So kay positive 7 man ang atong subtrahend, kini the subtrahend kaning second integer, huhimo una tog negative. Nakuha change. Mo na ipag-change. Okay. Next, follow the rule for addition. Diba? Kung kini siya ma-apply siya the second rule katong adding integers with unlike sign. So ato yung minus 7 minus 3 is 4. So ang greater absolute value is negative 7. So the answer is negative 4. Okay, greater absolute value man sa negative 7. Okay. Another is 2 minus negative 4. So, same, 2, copy 2. Next is, change the addition. Then proceed to change the subtrahend, which is negative 4 into positive 4. So, follow the addition symbol. Adding the rules for addition of integers. So 2 plus 4 is positive 6. Okay. Okay, next is negative 3 minus 5. Negative 3 minus 5. So as is, negative 3, copy negative 3. Change to addition. Then change the subtrahend. Positive 5 man, it becomes negative 5. So, follow the rule for addition, that is negative 3 plus negative 5, same sign or like sign man siya. So, copy the sign, then add the number. So, we have 3 plus 5, that is 8. Copy the sign, which is negative. So, that is negative 8. Okay? Next is negative 5 minus negative 2. So, as is, negative 5, keep the first integer. Then, change the operation from subtraction to addition. So, plus. Then, change the subtrahen, which is negative 2, mahimong positive 2. Then, follow the rule. So, negative 5 plus 2. So, unlike sign, so subtract. So, sa may dako, o absolute value, so negative 5 has a greater absolute value, so we will use the sign of negative 5. So, that is negative. So, 5 minus 2 is 3. So, negative 3. Okay? So, let's proceed to the multiplication of integers. Now, multiplication of integers, multiplication, as I've said, katong unsaon to ruling pag multiply, 'di ba? Na-memorize, I'm sure na-memorize ninyo ang multiplication table sa elementary as is rato. But we are talking here is how we are going to perform the sign numbers in the multiplication operation on integers or sign numbers. Okay, multiplication of integers, the rule number 1, when you multiply two numbers with the same sign, the product is always positive. Kung mag-multiply ko ka og duha ka number, we're talking about the sign, how we're going to perform multiplication on sign. Kung mag-multiply ko ka og duha ka number, as is mauro to ang resulta, pero mag-differ sila sa sign. So, when you multiply two numbers nga pareho kuno og sign, like for example, positive times positive, ang answer ana is positive. Kung mag-multiply po ka og pareho negative, that is negative times negative, ang answer ana is positive. Again, when you multiply two numbers with the same sign, the product is always positive. Like for example, 6 times 9, that is 54. Di ba? Maura na, same process. Sa endong elementary, 6 times 9 is 54. Negative, let's proceed. Negative numbers. Negative times negative 6, that is 42. Ito ha? 42. Kung may kag 7 times 6, 42. Negative 7 times negative 6, 42 po. Positive 42. Okay? Rule number 2. When you multiply two numbers with the different sign, the product is always negative. So, kung mag-multiply ko kag duha ka number nga lain og sign, but pasabot ang usa positive, ang usa negative, ang answer nila is always negative. Like for example, positive times negative is ang answer ana negative. Kung multiply po kag negative times positive, ang answer ana negative. Like for example, kaganina niyo kog 7 times 6 equals 42. Og negative 7 times negative 6 is 42. Karon, ang usa positive, ang usa negative, tanawa. 7 times negative 6, 42 gihapon, pero negative 42. Ako ha? Negative 42. We have 7 times negative 6 equals negative 42. Pabaliktaran to, negative 7 ang usa, ang 7 na po ang negative, negative 7 times positive 6, negative 42 gihapon. As Isra do, di ba? Kung saan pa multiply maura, pero ang sign mag-differ sila. Okay. Negative 6 times 9 equals negative 54. Negative, kaya yung isa negative 1. Di ba? Baliktaron na to. 6, positive 6 times negative 9, negative 54 gihapon ang answer. Okay, rule number 3. Any number that is multiplied by 0 gives the product of 0. Of course, nana sa elementary, that any number that is multiplied by 0, the answer is always 0. Okay? So, 0 times any number is 0. Or any number times 0 is 0. 0 times negative 9, 0. Okay, bisan pag 1 million na, basta i-times sa 0, ang answer is 0. Okay. Let's proceed to the division of integers. Hapit na ko. Okay. Hapit na. Ipaspasan na to, kay hapit na ko malubat. Okay? Run out karon. Okay, we have division of integers. So, rule number 1, when you divide two numbers with the same sign, the quotient is always positive. Now, the rules for division of integers and the multiplication are the same. The same, pareho sila. So, when you divide two numbers kuno with the same sign, the quotient is always positive. So, pareho positive gi-divide, ang answer positive pareho. Okay, pareho sila sa multiplication, di ba? Okay, pareho ruling. Okay, for example, 15 divide 5. Positive 15 divided by positive 5. The result is positive 3. 8 divided by 2, that is positive 4. 24 divided by 6, that the result is positive 4. Negative 15, negative ta. Negative 15 divided by negative 5, the result is positive 3. Negative 35 divided by negative 7, pareho negative, ang resulta positive 5. Negative 18 divided by negative 3, pareho negative, the result is positive 6. Diba? When you divide pareho nga sign, two numbers nga pareho sign, the answer is always positive. Now, second rule, pareho pod sa multiplication. When you divide two numbers with different sign, the quotient is always negative. Negative, okay. For example, 18, positive 18 divided by negative 3, the result is negative 6. Maura process, pero maura process pag divide, pero malahi ang sign. Okay. 35 divided by negative 7, negative 5. Negative 8 divided by 2, the result is negative 4. Negative 24 divided by 6, ang resulta, kaya ang usa negative, ang usa positive, ang answer negative. Okay. Rule number 3. The rules for dividing 0 by a non-zero number for division by 0 still hold. So, maura na. Kung ang number, if our dividend is 0 and our divisor is a non-zero number, the answer is 0. For example, 0 divided by 1, the answer is 0. Okay? And then, we have also, if we're going to divide or the dividend is non-zero, and the divisor or any number, the divisor is 0, our answer is undefined. Like for example, 0 divided by 6, the answer is 0. But if we are going to exchange, baliktaro na to, 6 divided by 0, it is undefined. Undefined siya. Undefined siya kay tagad siya possibly answer. Wala pa. Not yet defined. Undefined gani. Okay? So that's all. Thank you for listening. So see you in our next video. So have a good day everyone. Keep safe always. Bye-bye.